Turn that damn roof off!
Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome to Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon, as it is a Remember Wednesday presented by our friends over at Fayetteville Flyco. So we're going to be eating some member berries today with random Razorback events. We'll get into that, as well as a vibe check with the chat presented by our friends at Basis Health. Also, Alumni Hall question of the day, do some headlines according to BetSaracen, and of course, get to our heavy hitters presented by HD Roofing and Construction. But it's hump day, midway point of the week. Fellas, how we feeling today as we are about to be in the home stretch of the final week of the month of April?
I just don't know. John, I don't know. The portal is closed. I mean, I have no idea what to do with my hands or my time. I think that I feel a little bit lost right now, but I was immediately, like, as soon as midnight struck, I became a better human being, a more productive citizen, a better husband, a better family man. So that's all good, but I really don't know what to do with myself without looking at, every guy that enters, the hundreds of players that enter the portal every day. It's just no longer a thing. I guess I just get to be a normal human now.
We're in dust settling season, Curtis.
That's right.
This is where the dust settles, and then we'll get to look at this by about this weekend. We'll get to really take a step back and take a big picture look at things. But I can't get over hat neighbors. John's wearing a hat.
Yeah, that's already been pointed out in the chat. Yeah, I know I'm not a hat guy. That I leave that to Andrew Ellis because he looks good in hats. I don't, but it was one of those days, as I was telling Andrew, not to say I spend a lot of time on my hair because it's not like I have a whole lot to deal with anyways, but it was just one of those days where I was getting pissed and frustrated at. So I said, screw it, I'm going with a hat, and might as well make it a Fayetteville Flyco hat because these are good hats. So yeah, for once, Curtis is the odd man out with the hatless venture that he's got, but that's okay.
It's crazy.
I know.
We've always said, Curtis, there's no cap with that guy.
That's
and,
right. Yeah. I'm the truth teller today. So
That's right. Dropping bombs on it too. So, but yeah, we appreciate everybody tapping in with us again. We're going to have a lot of things to discuss, but I wanted to start off the show because we'll have basketball talk. We'll do baseball talk. We're going to do everything, but I wanted to start off the show with something that, of course, broke during our show yesterday with Hunter Yurachek and the statement that he made and how it was alluding to the situation with the Madden kid and how it really took a lot of things by storm. We were being able to react in real time. And just like pretty much any type of story like that, some things start to settle, as you start to hear a little bit more about it, a little bit more about the background of it. And I guess it was yesterday, right before the baseball game, I believe, that Brandon Marcello of 24/7 Sports and CBS Sports, he sends me a text. And usually when he does, it's either one of two things. It's either an article that he's written that's really good about Arkansas, or he sends me and be like, hey, what was that run restaurant you talked about once? That's usually what it is. So it's one of the two. But he put it out there, and just, again, other people are going back into it. But we know about the statement. We know about the thing with Yurachek. We know about all of those things and what it could mean as far as trying to enforce the contracts of NIL and everything. But this had a few more details that got released for him. Now, I'm just reading this from Brandon Marcello's article from CBS Sports. It says, one day after Nico signed with UCLA, Madden informed Arkansas coaches he was homesick and wanted to enter into the portal. So one day after that happened, that was a person familiar with the decision there. Also, says the family, including Nico, visited Madden and Fayetteville over the weekend to catch the Razorback spring game, which, didn't happen. So you had that. And then this is where I think it gets really fascinating. It says Madden initially committed to UCLA in 2024 in May, but then flipped on signing day. He agreed to a 1-year NIL deal with the Arkansas Edge Collective, a source said. Payouts for quarterback of his stature, a 4-star prospect in 24/7 Sports rankings, fetched close to $500,000 during the winter signing period, industry sources said. Contracts in the Arkansas commonly include language requiring players to reimburse 50% of the money remaining on their deal should they leave for another school. According to those documents, Madden had roughly 8 months remaining on his contract, meaning the collective expects a 6-figure buyout. So a few more details to the whole mess of this story and how crazy it is, man.
How about this? SCT, you said it well, buddy.
That's great.
Well done. Welcome. Wow. I hadn't gotten a chance to look at that one yet, so some of that information is new to me. But it makes sense. It lines up. Homesick is a good. I don't know, man. Could you imagine being on an SEC football roster and just walking into the coaches with you, knowing this whole situation, the way that it's gone down, and just walking in there and being like, "Hey, I'm a little homesick, man." I mean, that's tough, brother. That's tough. I mean, you might as well just go in there and call it how it is, but good grief. 6 figures, huh?
6 figs.
Well, now it makes sense why the language in Hunter Yurachek's statement was what it was, because we were talking about it. This is not going to be a pennies on the dollar situation. If he's going to put that out there and they're going to even threaten to pursue it, or whatever, it's going to be a hefty sum of money. And now there we have it.
Yeah, and I on the homesick front, I guess when your older brother is the quarterback of a playoff team and he ends up going back home, makes that decision, it starts to feel pretty easy to be homesick whenever you're just a freshman, your first time being away from home. That's pretty funny. But yeah, this is fascinating because does UCLA pick up that tab?
Good question.
Maybe that was part of their deal, or maybe UCLA didn't even know about it, or maybe they're just like a lot of these players saying, "Hey, I'm bouncing out. What are you going to do? What are you going to do about it?" I mean, there's just a lot of angles that could be taken from this. And now I want to make sure everyone understands, there's not in the report that's saying that he got paid $500,000. It's
right.
The value of him. So the thing is 24/7 Sports and everybody involved in those things, they don't just pull numbers out of their rear end and it was like, hey, well, this is probably what it's worth. It's like it comes from research. So it may not be exactly $500,000, but it's probably pretty close to that. And when I saw that, I was like, well, no kidding. They want their money back. You know what? 500. I know we talk about millions, and of course, Kentucky with their $20 million NIL deal, but like what $500,000 could do and who it could get and the type of players you could have in any sport, much less football. And for all of it to be gone, yeah, that's a problem. So now, I'm sure this has happened many times, even at Arkansas. But when I saw that number, I'm like, yep, that's why Yurachek put out that statement. That's why Yurachek's caring about this. Because I could not imagine, this isn't even something that like, oh, this is Tyson's money. This is actually the money that you folks out there who donated to the Arkansas Edge, this is your money. This means you can be pissed about it. This means you can be frustrated. And I'm just like, it just makes me even more upset and frustrated that this happened. And maybe more details will come out about it, but golly, it just keeps getting worse and worse for this entire family and how they look.
I'm so happy that you just said that, John, because I wish we would have brought that up yesterday. It's a very good point, because so many times when we've called folks out for pocket watching and we're like, yo, it's like, it's, we get it, but like, it's really not your money, so don't worry about what John Tyson's doing with his funds. This came directly from the Arkansas Edge. This is, in fact, your money. If you donated to the cause to get the slobber hog on the court at Bud Walton Arena, this is your money. If you heard Hunter Yurachek's calls to donate, give a hundo, whatever, this is your money. So you are 100% right. If people want to be ticked off about this one, they are well within their rights to do so. Good call.
Well, it becomes your business when the athletic director tweets about it. And that's why we talked about it on the show. That's why it became such a talking point. But I also think nationally, there are a lot of people paying attention to what happens in this situation, because this is now a guinea pig. This is now the precedent that's going to be set moving forward. I don't know when Arkansas will sign their next 6-figure high school contract, but I imagine it's going to include something along the lines of, don't do what Madden Niamaliava did. And if you do, here's the very specific consequence of what's going to happen. You now have something to turn back to. And so whatever happens with this situation with Arkansas and Madden is going to kind of dictate how these other schools operate during signing day season or during portal season when they're coming up with these agreements. And so ultimately, we don't know for sure what Arkansas had written into that contract, but it's going to change the way these things are worded for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. I mean, this is something to where we almost like with NIL and transfer portal and all this stuff, but specifically NIL, there's so much we don't know. We know that every day. We try to connect dots. We try to speculate, but we just don't know so many things. And then every so often there'll be a little bit of a door opening that's like, okay, here's a little bit more. And for me, at least, this was a little bit of a door opening up of like, okay, these are the contracts, the type of wording that they're using at least at Arkansas, saying, okay, well, if you sign with us and you go somewhere else, you owe us 50%. You owe us that. And I don't think that he's just the only one, but this isn't something to where they paid him $1,000 and this is what they need back. Like this would have never happened. Yurachek would have never put out this statement. None of this would have gone down if it wasn't for this type of player of this type of caliber getting that type of money, which at least tells me that this was the biggest situation that they had when someone did this. And I don't do it often, but I am going to give Hunter Yurachek a lot of credit. And I think he's in 100% in the right for doing what he's doing, saying what he's saying. There's a lot of risk in that. There's a lot of things and I think the wording of his statement was important, but it was basically letting everybody know without having any sort of nastiness or anything behind it. Just, I trust the Arkansas Edge and I support their right to enforce these rules and contracts, like just very basic. So shout out to him for doing this, for causing this discussion, because it's a lot of things on college sports in general, but shout out to him for making it happen, because I think it needed to happen for quite some time.
Yeah, I mean, rare Hunter Yurachek dub here. I mean, credit where it's due for sure. And this is really interesting to me, man, because we've talked a lot about like at what point do the players get held accountable for this? Like if you're getting paid to play, but you're not performing, like at what point does that become a thing? If you bail on an agreement early, at what point does that become a thing? Like at what point do they become held accountable? Because everybody wants to call them professionals. And so from the standpoint of you're now collecting earnings, then sure, but they are not subject to all the other regulations that guys in the NFL or the NBA or whoever else is. And that was the next step in this. And a lot of people were saying, hey, the school's never going to sue a player for whatever, and they're never going to enforce this type of stuff because of the negative ramifications. It's going to kill you. Bullcrap. And I'm going to read a tweet that just got put out a little bit ago from a notorious friend of the program, Josh Pate. He said, programs demanding buyout money from a player bailing on an NIL deal will have near universal public support. The fear of negative headlines is laughable, and fear of negative recruiting ramifications is vastly overblown. I agree with him 100% on that.
100%. And I also think that because I'm sure that in a reaction to this, there are going to be some that say like, hey, well, we don't want it to go back to the universities having all the power again. And that's why I think ultimately we're like, there's going to be like 10 more steps down the road where the players ultimately will have like a players union, something like every single pro sports team. There's a players association. There's some type of body that kind of represents the players. Maybe it'll just be the agents form a coalition, but like there's going to be a push and pull and a tug with a tug of rope with this situation. Because there's really still no boundaries. The boundaries are being set by how these things play out in real time with these specific examples. And so that's why it's so funny how much like impact this situation by itself has, because it's the first of its kind. And there's going to be more and more like this. Like you say, performance-based things like that. This thing's going to continue to evolve, and it's just going to play out in real time. Like, none of us really know what direction it's going to go.
No, and that's what makes it like really interesting and intriguing about the future of it too. I would just really hope, and how funny it would be is that if it did become a lawsuit and it was like, this family versus the Arkansas Edge, which in part would be this family versus the Razorback fans, and then you got Jethro down in Ryzen being like, I paid my $50, I'll see you in court, buddy. And then all of a sudden the courthouse is just littered with the hog pen people out there, and it's just it would be awesome just to see all of that go down if it ended up going down that way. But yeah, I think the point with the Pate tweet, and I think this is somewhere, college sports, just everything in general, it's hard to get everybody on board and agreeing on the same thing. It just is. But I have a hard time believing anybody when it's like going to just, hey, your word is your bond type thing. If you sign the dotted line and one party adheres to that and the other party doesn't, almost everyone's going to be like, well, the party that didn't needs to pay for that, needs to have consequences. Everybody's on board with that. And so because of that fact, the student athletes have definitely, gotten a lot of ground made up on what they earn and what they deserve. And I think most people would agree that it's been good for that because of, the situation that it's adapting to. But at the end of the day, if you sign a piece of paper, I mean, for crying out loud, when we were growing up, and I don't want to sound like an old man yelling at clouds, but we were growing up, I remember my dad would just smack me upside the head if it just verbally committed to playing t-ball. And I was like, I don't want to play anymore. I'd be like, you committed, you go play. That was something that small. We're talking about paperwork here. We're talking about like legally binding contracts with signatures and with high dollar amounts. And then suddenly it's just kind of like, no, that doesn't matter. It's like, no, those things need to matter. And you do need to suffer consequences if you sign your name on a dotted line for something and you don't hold your end of the bargain. You need to have some consequences to that, plain and simple.
Yeah, and it just doesn't seem like that's an outlandish take to have. But for the longest, it kind of felt like it was when people would bring it up. So it's wild. Garrett, it was me. He said one of y'all's dogs said, "F Madden, I want my money back." He's barking those fighting words. Slim ain't having it.
Yeah,
Slim didn't get a treat yesterday because Madden stole from the U of A. You know, I mean, it's unbelievable what we're having to deal with here. But no, in all seriousness, this is it's just a fascinating deal. And I love because Hunter Yurachek had the cojones to do this. And again, man, like credit where it's due for going public and making a statement about it. Whereas I felt when it first happened, when Madden hit the portal or said he was going to, it just kind of felt like we were going to be a footnote on this bigger story. And now it's almost equal to that. Like it's a big factor into this whole saga that started with Nico. And it's come full circle here. So Arkansas is making a name for itself. And who are we to always say that Arkansas is, reactive instead of proactive? Hunter Yurachek on the forefront of this discussion here. There you have it.
Setting history, man. You know how like when you go to the zoo and there's like a sign that says "Don't throw bread at the ducks" or whatever, and you know that sign is there because someone threw bread at the ducks and they had to figure out, hey, that's not good. To Josh Pay's point, this is a 100%. This is a very easy moment in society where we all get to point to one thing and say, we agree this is bad. And Arkansas gets to be that. They get to be that sign that says, hey, don't sign a $500,000 contract and then leave immediately. And I like this comment from Hog On. It says, best publicity Arkansas Edge has had since its conception. I'm inclined to agree. Out of nowhere. You want to talk about Hunter Yurachek has at least had several dubs throughout his career. Arkansas Edge, this might be their first dub ever as a program. Tip of the hat to whoever's pulling the strings back there.
I mean, have the awareness now. Strike while the iron is hot. If you like what we said, donate now. It's
If you agree, we got screwed. Come on.
I would hate it, but I would also love it if they'd said something like that. Just be like, help us get our money back by donating more, like something like that. But we'll get to more of your chats and more of the discussion. I did want to throw this out there because I saw somebody, I'm not going to read his name because it's very inappropriate on Twitter, but he just tweeted at me about, we were talking about how if you donated to Arkansas Edge, you should be upset. He goes, no, you have every right to be upset with Edge for misusing your funds. And here's my thing. You want to talk about any other example, any other situations about misusing funds? Okay, let's hear it. This is not one of those things. You know why? Because not a single dadgum one of you were like, we don't want this kid. We don't want this 4-star quarterback that we flipped from UCLA. We don't want him. He's too expensive. And then when Petrino and Pittman were talking about how awesome he is, they're like, we don't care. We don't want him here. No, you do. Just now, what it takes money to get those types of caliber players. And here you go. You got him. Now, that's his problem of him leaving. That's not on Arkansas. That's not on Pittman. That's on Yurachek. That's on anybody. You all did your job where you got him here, you paid him, and he signed a contract with NIL. You're in the 100% right in this. So this isn't a misuse of funds, like as if they were going to know that this was going to happen. This was just a simple bad look and bad decision from somebody else.
A lot of y'all are ready to bench Taylon Green for this kid who hasn't thrown a football in a game since 2023. When it's a misuse of funds. I mean, come on now. We just listen. We get accused sometimes of from the football standpoint or whatever, like just being negative or listen. Don't move the goalposts to this point. Like people have every right to be upset about this. This isn't a misuse of funds. It was a perfectly well justified use of funds. They just got screwed over, and that's why they want it back.
Also, are we sure we can even play the misuse of funds card at all? Like that is nowhere in the rules that the university is laying out for you. When they ask you to donate, nowhere in the fine print does it say, oh yeah, we guarantee that we're not going to screw it up. There's it doesn't say, hey, we're not going to bring in anyone who sucks. Like you really can't, if you think that you get to control how people use the money you give them, that's not how the world has ever worked at any context. You can't even guarantee that when you give a homeless guy $10, he's not going to buy fentanyl with it. You can't guarantee that. You can't guarantee any money that you give to someone is used right, but that's not how the world works. That's never been like something that we can control. You just kind of have to accept that.
Mm-hmm.
Is this where our reverse heel turn occurs? Like when all of a sudden we're defending the okay.
Yeah. Wow. I just
power.
Like we're here to make fun of the decisions that the school makes when they spend their money poorly, and we'll talk about it. But like, that's going to happen a lot.
Well, yeah, and like also too, because I know we'll move on, but like, I'd like to think what we pride ourselves in is we'll have opinions and things, and some of them could be better than others, and some of them could be right and wrong, whatever it is. But like, we're still gonna call it as it is. We don't have a narrative that we're pushing of like we hate this, we hate the Arkansas Edge. So no matter what they do, we're not going to admit that they were right or that they were wrong or anything. It's like we're just gonna call balls and strikes. And when they do get something good, yay! When they do something bad, boo. It's just how like sports teams work. With the Razorback football team beats Tennessee in a crazy game, yay! But if they do something bad, boo. Like it's just you don't have to be like, well, I hate them, so therefore, no matter what, I have to hate them because that is my life. That's not that way. So, but we'll get to a few of your chats. I do want to say for our Alumni Hall question of the day, presented by our friends over at Alumni Hall, since we're discussing this, you can go to Alumni Hall, 3417 North College Avenue. Use that promo code HOGSBY20. You get 20% off your purchase. All the great Razorback apparel you could possibly want. You can also go online at InsideArkansas.com/Alumni Hall and use that promo code there as well. 20% off. They got everything you could possibly need from the Razorback, ultimate Razorback shopping experience with men, women, kids, all the great, nicest clothing you could possibly want. Apparel. They got coolers. They got clocks. Anything and everything that's Razorback related, they have it, because if they don't have it, it doesn't exist. So check them out today at InsideArkansas.com/Alumni Hall. Just a simple question, because it's not like anyone's going to know for sure, but I just want to know where fans' vibe is at. Will Arkansas get any of the money owed to them via that broken NIL contract? And according to the very accurate polling, 61% say no. So a little closer than I thought, but 61% say no, 39% say yes. But
I think I agree with them.
I do
unfortunately. After all this, I think I agree. They're probably not going to get a dime, or they'll settle, or maybe, or so, I don't know. But I don't think that they're going to get back what they're owed. Any of it, I don't know.
We also we don't know for sure. I mean, like the reports that we read, that 24/7 had basically were like, hey, here is what's standard. Here are things that we hear happen in other cases. So we're kind of assuming it happens here. I feel like Arkansas wouldn't be making a public thing about this if they didn't know that they might be kind of in trouble in the language of the deal type of thing. Like I don't know if they have that written down for sure that like he's going to have to pay it back. I think they're going to try and hope to get it via this public pressure and all that. But I think in this particular case, Arkansas is probably going to end up taking the L. They just won't have to continue paying him. But I think in the future, this will have more of an impact.
Yeah, and I know, again, a lot of people in the chat, will get to it, but people probably don't like this guy. I don't mind him. But I think he came up with a really good point. Clay Travis, because, he's a Tennessee guy, and he was talking about this. But he brought up something that would be funny. He said, this is an interesting dynamic. If you're a pro in college athletes in football, basketball, men's, whatever it is, you're now pros. Then when you sign a contract, you can't leave for another team without consequences. Could you imagine how juries in Fayetteville and Knoxville would be if that's where they had to come to court? Like if the Madden, it's like if it got to that point where they were getting sued, it's like, well, and again, you got to show up in court here in Fayetteville for this huge deal. Like, what do you think the juries are going to do? Like, how do you feel like they're probably going to be leaning towards? So, not saying it would happen, but it would be, again, really funny just to see, people from the hog pen just standing outside of the courthouse with their arms raised up, we want our money back. Like that would be, I think it would be very humorous. It would be important, but it'd be very humorous. So, well, let's keep it going here, and we'll get into a little bit of your vibe check presented by our friends over at Basis Health, where they're changing the way healthcare is delivered by providing mobile medical visits to the comfort of your very own home. An actual doctor, not these ones that you see on TV. We're talking about legitimate doctors who come to your home for your urgent care, for your primary care, IV hydration. I mean, they do it all, and they have the highest end technology and the greatest machines to be able to help you out. And that's what makes Basis Health so great, is because they are here for you when and where you need them the most. You can learn more at basishealth.org today. Appreciate our guy Dre being a partner here at Inside Arkansas. So yeah, we got some banger of chats, I am sure. But I just want to give shout outs to the super chat. This just comes from SJC_5. Weird picture. I didn't see if you actually had a chat, but appreciate it. The super chat regardless. And if you just did it because of that avatar, then thank you. I won't be able to sleep tonight. I guess we'll read Ozzy. He can be kind of wild sometimes, but he said UCLA and Madden tampered with and conspired against Arkansas. That's the conspiracies that I'm going with. I'm going with that. I love.
I think you're giving UCLA too much credit, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's true.
I think this fell in their lap a little bit, but they'll take it, and they also have to pay a lot of money for it.
Yeah, I think it's more of a family thing, representative thing, than it is a UCLA thing. So, let's see. T Razorback says, why would they only get 50% back if a guy leaves in the spring portal? Feels like they should ride it so that they get full repayment if they don't play in the fall. I think that it's about, from my understanding in the wording, it was saying that if you would owe 50% of what you've been. It's not like they, like some of them in some cases is like a monthly payment or however many months. It's like if you leave after 4 months, you owe 50% of what's owed of the remaining 4 months. Or whatever.
It sounds like the same contract language that head coaches have in buyouts.
Right. Yes.
Like if it could be based on record or whatever, but if you leave, you owe 7, or somebody's got to pay out 50% of what's left on your deal, whether it's 3 years or whatever. I think it sounds like that, if I'm reading into that correctly.
Yeah, I believe so too. Finch says, quick question. When do the players have to make up their mind on when they're dropping out of the draft and keeping college eligibility?
I don't know. I don't know the date. It's going to be after the combine. The combine's May 11th through 18th.
Oh, yeah.
So a while. They still got a while.
Yeah, I feel like the date changes. I could be wrong by that, but like every year, it feels like it's a different time. But either way,
it'll be shortly after that. I bet it'll be before the end of May, I think. But
yeah,
I don't know.
Let's see. A transplanted Texan. He's still fired about this. He says, "Did Hunter Yurachek see this coming, and that is the reason he canceled the autograph signing?" I mean, he said because Nico, when he transferred to UCLA, at least according to the article, it says a day after is when he informed the coaches, and I still think that was post spring game. I could be wrong. I feel like it is, but maybe it wasn't. Actually, no, it wasn't. It was earlier than that. So yeah, maybe so. Maybe there is something to it because they knew people were going to show up, be like, "Hey, we want Madden's autograph," and Sam Pittman's going to be, "Oh man, you don't want to know about that situation." Probably not that deep, but still. Austin from work says, "Hunter, you're on the no slander list. Do we? We're not doing that yet. Like
No.
we can't.
No way.
Yeah, can't go to that route just yet." Let's see. Also, Wesley's coming in hot with some of y'all's avatars are just weird. But he says, are y'all out of your minds? I ask you to pay me money for something and then you get no return on your investment. You are suing me. Same thing here. We as fans have given money to Arkansas Edge. So
who's out of their minds?
I know. I was trying to figure out if he's talking about the chat or us or whoever, but
I was gonna say it's kind of exactly what we're.
Yeah. I think,
wait, so hold on. Is Wesley saying that the Arkansas fan base is going to sue Arkansas Edge?
Maybe that's what he's saying.
That's what he's saying. He's like same thing here. We as fans have given money to Arkansas Edge, and he's talking about not getting a return on investment. Are you going to sue Arkansas Edge for what?
Yeah, good luck with that. Good luck with that. I mean,
I don't think anything you signed or anything when you donated money said anything about like, hey, this only works if we are 8-4, or this only works if we bring in this quarterback from California. I don't think it said anything about that. I don't know how you're going to sue the university for that.
I don't know either. It's like, it's like I'm giving you your money, but if we don't have if this player that I know it went to does not perform at this standard, then I get my money back. Yeah. It's not a restaurant where you order.
Maybe John Tyson signed something where he literally it was like, I'm giving this for Nelly Davis. If you don't get Nelly Davis, I want my money back. Like that. I don't know what fan is signed up for one of those deals.
Yeah. Well, good luck if you just try to do that. Good luck in your endeavors of a lawsuit against the Arkansas Edge as a Razorback fan. I'm sure that'll hold up in court. Shout out to our guy Dre from Bases Health. Appreciate the super chat, man. He says the Iam Maliliav, I don't have my pronunciation. I threw it away. It doesn't matter. His family went from $2 million to asking for $4 million, now settling for $1 million, and now being asked to pay back $500,000 is the kind of math skills UCLA wants. So, yeah, math ain't mathing there. I don't know what I don't know what the end game was in all of this, but it seems like not only do they look awful, but they got less money at the end. At least that's what it looks like. Unless UCLA has some sort of bag man over there that under the table is giving them some serious money. I don't know.
The good news, all the silver lining for the Iamaleava family is that Nico went from being like a pretty confident top 15 pick to now there's serious questions about what his draft status is going to look like before he's even played a game his junior year.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly right. And also, let's see a few other ones too. Some of these, man, just crack me up. David's over here says, why are we still talking about our old third string true freshman quarterback?
It's literally the biggest story in the
Yeah.
country in covering college athletics. That's why.
Yeah. It's probably because we're trying to determine if the University of Arkansas is going to sue him or sue UCLA, or we're talking.
Or if you're going to sue Arkansas Edge.
Yeah, or the fan base is going to because there's a lot going on because the athletic director at Arkansas spoke about it, put out a public statement about it, and so it's a big deal.
Yeah,
I get it on the surface. It's like he wasn't even going to play. No, I know, but it's a big story, man, for sure.
Yeah.
But as we've learned, a lot of money can still be allocated to a guy who has not played a snap. That's what we're learning.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and it's also too, to me, it's like I'm not saying this will for sure happen, but this could have some ramifications, or at least be the start of a fire that could increase to where things move maybe a little bit more quickly on getting contracts to become a lot more formidable and held up in court when it comes to NIL. Like this could have been some, because this, I could be wrong, but from my knowledge, this is one of, if not the first time that an athletic director of a major university basically just called them out. I called out the whole thing and did it publicly on social media. So that's really what the discussion is, because no one had really seen that. And that's, people from, like Brandon Marcello and people on 3, everybody is referring to this tweet. Like that's what they have been talking about. So who knows? Maybe it ends up being, maybe Hunter Yurachek started the fire and the fire rises because of them. That's what it's probably not, but it'd be fun to at least hope for. So see a few more chats here too. Razor Shark says, will this NIL problem affect the renovations to Bud Walton Arena? Will they actually happen?
Unrelated, but also probably not. So
that would be really funny if
I think they already pretty much were like, hey, we're not worried about that.
Yeah.
So
it went from putting it on the back burner to now it's like under one of those buffet heat lamps. So just kind of keeping it warm, but
and the heat lamp's not even on
soon. Yeah, exactly.
Dude, I just laugh because when something like that get pops up, I try to think of if that was actually happening, what that conversation would be like. Hey, man, listen, Hunter, we were going to get these renovations going, but this guy over here that just took $500,000 of our money can't do it anymore. I have to wait a little bit. It's like, oh, well, we're so close. Hopefully no one screws us over again. I don't think it's that intense about it. Bud Walton Arena, renovations, all that, it'll come in time, but they got bigger fish to fry with their money right now, at least according to sources. WPSATX50. Checking in from Austin, Texas. Go Hogs.
It just feels good to hear somebody from Austin, Texas saying "Go Hogs." I like that. You're fighting a good fight,
Him and Sharkansas.
That's right. Right. I actually plan on going to Austin for the football game this year. I don't know. Like I've never been to Austin for cool things, so that's me and my friend group.
I went to Austin for was Arkansas basketball getting massacred in an exhibition.
Yeah, I haven't been to Texas football before. I probably need to go one of these days.
Oh, well, I mean, here's the thing: is Arkansas and Texas are going to play each other every year, and it's going to be home and home. So I feel like you're going to have more opportunities for sure.
Yeah, I guess I will have an opportunity or two.
Yeah, but I will say, I'm with my friend group. We always do a trip, like for a road game. And last year was Stillwater because that was literally like the most marquee one. But this year we were trying to decide between that and Knoxville. Maybe we should have done Knoxville, but it'll still be fun. Definitely going to Notre Dame when that trip ends up happening. All right, sadly, shout out to Guy Dre again. Appreciate Super Chat, man. He says, if Edge loses that $500,000, do we lose the Slobber Hog?
Yeah.
Yep. They're going to get the little shovels and scraping it off the floor, man.
Yeah, it was a 1-year deal. They signed up for the Slobber Hog paint. They can't renew it next year.
Joke's on you. You guys are going to be the ones out there with the sanders getting it off of there. So
yes, yeah. It's like, and everyone's going to be like, no, like they're just going to be yelling, like they can't do it. They can't take it from us. Well, they did. Ray, appreciate the Super Chat again, man. Thank you. He says, if the hunter can't get the 500,000 back, will he take away the Slobber Hog? No, I think you just sent it twice on accident, or at least the same comment here on accident. But Yeah. No, Slobberhog is here to stay.
It's a solid
Okay.
double send.
Yeah.
Solid double send. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll take any of those double sends you want to send our way. We love those double sends. So, Transplanted Texan says, if only the U of A made sure the new GM was in place before National Signing Day.
Hey, great look for Remy Cofield to be like, hey, you see the kind of stupid crap y'all were doing before I showed up?
Yeah, this would never have happened under his watch.
Yeah. Under the Remy Cofield era, you've gotten what, 4 defensive commits? I mean, that's big time.
Yeah. Let's see. Actually know this guy. I think I went to Fayetteville High School with him. Is it Ramil, I believe? Yeah, he says we're big city from Houston. Yeah, appreciate it. We got some
Cool,
Texas people in here. Love that.
You guys should do that more. And when I say you should do that more, I'm not saying you should just spam us with a bunch of random stuff, but like actually telling us where you're from, where you're listening from. It's cool. It's good stuff.
Yeah, it's like the radio phone lines is just having when I was doing a producer, I have to answer phone. So-and-so show, what's your name? Where are you calling from? This is Michael in Stuttgart.
I do appreciate knowing the experience, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just knowing where you're coming from. You know, there's what your community's like and what your home life's like and everything. Yeah, we want to know about all that.
Tell us about your mother.
Yeah. Get really in depth with all of your deepest and darkest secrets. So we'll get to more of the chat here in a second, folks. But as was mentioned, this is a Remember Wednesday presented by our friends over at Fayetteville Flyco. They are a small company based right here in Fayetteville, where they offer the outdoor apparel for all you enthusiasts and weekend warriors who enjoy everything about Northwest Arkansas, including fishing, hiking, biking, hunting, and so much more. And Fayetteville Flyco carries a full line of hats, like the one I'm wearing now, as well as shirts, like also the Rod Hog that I'm wearing right now. They got plenty of those in inventory and in stock. And also free shipping on all orders of $50 or more, plus 5% back to local nonprofits supporting nature conservation efforts. You go to the website at fflyco.com, use that code HOGSBY20 for 20% off your purchase. Exactly what you get. Doesn't matter how much you buy, you get 20% off. So check it out today with our friends over at Fayetteville Flyco. Okay, so for Remember Wednesday that we want to get up. Actually, hold on a second. Let me. Thanks, Logan, for the super chat. We appreciate you, buddy. He says, "Have y'all covered Malachi Singleton hitting the portal yet?" I think so.
In depth.
I think that was covered.
So I saw him say this earlier before he sent the super chat. I thought he meant like, did he transfer from Purdue? And I was like, I was like looking to see. I didn't see anything about that. I guess he literally just means from Arkansas, huh?
I assume that's what he's meaning. But then again, I also did not know Austin Ledbetter hit the transfer portal.
I will say, hey, I thought that Malachi Singleton would be the most polarizing backup quarterback transfer of the year. I was wrong. It was not the most polarizing one.
No, it wasn't.
It's a little bit of an inside joke in the Discord at times with Malachi.
Yeah.
People talking about Malachi leaving the portal.
And with the portal,
some people just didn't know it happened.
No. Well, sometimes life gets us where we don't know when the backup quarterbacks hit the portal. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes
I think they were the same number. Him and Iam Aliaba. I think they were both 3.
Yep, they were the dreaded number 3 when you play quarterback at Arkansas. I tell you what. So for Remember Wednesday, kind of keeping with the same trend, I asked this question on Twitter. I wanted you guys to chime in if you had any thoughts on this, but because of like Madden leaving and the story outside of that, like who do you think of for Remember Wednesday? Some of the players you remember that never played a snap or a play for Arkansas, but everyone remembers them because maybe they were committed to Arkansas, maybe they felt like they were going to be a Razorback, maybe they were in practices and whatnot, but just never played. Like who are some of the names in any sport that come up? Like for me, Vin Askeles, that linebacker from the Northeast in 2012 that wrote a poem for Arkansas. I think of Al Jefferson, and he was committed to Arkansas, but never actually did anything. Ricky Towns, another one that always gets brought up. But yeah, is there any names that pop up for y'all? Just ones that you're like, I remember this guy. Everyone talked about him. Everyone thought he was a hog or he was a hog. Just didn't, but literally did not play a single play.
The one that immediately came to my mind was the early Eric Musselman days. I guess it was going into his second year, Isaiah Moss. You guys remember him?
Oh, yeah.
The shooter that they picked up, and then all of a sudden it was a thing, and then it wasn't a thing, and then he wound up at Kansas, and they got Jimmy Witt.
Not about that. See, that's one. Okay. That's a great one.
Yeah. Yep.
That's a great
For some reason, this made me think of like random players that were like practice heroes. I think of John David White. Y'all remember him?
Oh yeah.
There was a stretch where they had a white receiver every year. After Drew Morgan, there was like an obsession with like 5'10" white guys where people were like, hey, I think Harper Cole can really like make a difference. There's a few of those. But I feel like baseball has had a couple also guys that got drafted. Like now Mason Wynn and Tink Hintz. Like we talk about them like they're former Hogs, damn near.
Yeah.
We reference them so much. That by the time they play in the big leagues, they will feel. I remember, and Mason Wynn's there now. It almost feels like he was a former Hog because we've followed him and said his name so much. Dalton Hyatt, y'all remember Dalton Hyatt?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Remember him?
Dalton Hyatt was a great quarterback controversy from a spring game.
Yep. I remember what was it? A lot of people were talking about Andre Iguodala, which technically falls under because he was committed to Arkansas but didn't actually play here. But yeah, it feels like football's been the one that's had the most because, like you said, practice players or just players that were intriguing. Everyone thought would be, they'd see the field and they would do all these great things and never actually ended up doing it. But I see people saying Rafe Peavy. I was like, I remember him, but I don't remember him being like, oh man, this guy.
Dude, when he was a recruit, he was he was getting hyped up like crazy.
Oh, well, I don't remember him ever actually playing a play. So yeah, maybe he falls under that whole.
I don't know
thing
if he maybe played a snap.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, maybe he did.
Hey, Wonder Bread said Dana Altman.
I mean, he counts. He was a Hog by rule. He did sign good. And he did have that going. So yeah, by rule, he was indeed a Hog. That's pretty great. Yeah, Garrett says Kelly Bryant. How about that one?
Oh man, yeah, that one was wild.
Okay,
hurt a little. Desmond James in the chat.
Yeah, Dorial Green Beckham.
Yep. Yeah, the Kelly Bryant one is like I remember how insane I thought it was. That the season was still going on and he was visiting like in the stands for a Razorback game when he had started for Missouri or played for Missouri like earlier in the year, like game 1 or 2. And then by game 5, he's visiting Arkansas and Fayetteville and he's there in the stadium. It was such a weird thing.
Clemson actually, right? Because he ended up going to Missouri, but he was like, he had started for the national champion Clemson team that year. And then they ended up winning the title with Trevor Lawrence, which like, I remember in the moment, it really was a controversial thing when they benched him for Trevor Lawrence. As weird as that sounds.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's a I forgot. Yeah, it was flipped. He ended up going to Missouri, which I don't think he was bad at Missouri, but I don't think he also like was great either.
Yeah. I mean, this is a really good one here from Sharkensaw. Yeah. Posted about Khalil Garland in the Discord. That's a great pull, man. Obviously he had the heart condition and he never really got to play. I was hyped about him too. He was really good. I mean, he would have been a lot of fun. That's a super sad deal, but that's a good one because he was around the program for a while there too, just never played.
He would have been a 4 or 5 year Hog. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like he 1000% would have been a good college player that developed over the course of, and then by his senior year, been like a key piece. Like he definitely would have been a cool, like one of the last remaining lifetime Hogs.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a great one too. Cause he was on the bench. I felt like for like 5 years too. Like he was there hanging out.
Yeah. He was even around. Well, I say even around, it wasn't that long, but wasn't he around during some of the Muss?
Mm-hmm. He overlapped with Muss for sure.
Yeah. I thought he did. Okay.
Yeah. And there's some people were mentioning players that actually did play a little bit like Gental Silla. It's like, yeah, but he actually played, and like it wasn't much.
That's crazy.
But he did play. I don't know how to say his name. I think you guys know him. But how about John Oliver?
He's in the top 30 of the list.
I mean, he's a memorable name.
He's a name. He is a name.
Probably the person who wanted to be a Hog the most that never was.
Yeah. The greatest Hog that never was.
Yeah.
That's the way to put it. Jeez. Somebody said like this guy he says Keith Jackson. Big Keith Jackson.
Junior?
No, not Junior.
He gave Arkansas some good snaps on the D line. What do you mean?
He was. Yeah. And what he's most memorable for is he was a good player, but was when he needed to use the bathroom, pulled a Shaquille O'Neal, literally, where he ran off the field after having a scoop and score, and he was sprinting off that thing because he had to go to the bathroom. So that was good times. Geez, like people are just like, now we're getting off the rails.
No, I mean, John, this is right up your alley, right?
Oh man,
Football kid from the billboard.
too soon, man.
Yeah.
Too soon. Bear
Hey.
McWhorter.
He's totally going to play like 15 years in the NFL.
Yep. Yep. That is so sad too, man. Like I have no problems with him. I mean, nothing at all. And I don't think anyone should. But it's just so sad because he was like, put up that billboard. He wanted it. He wanted it.
Yeah.
He's coming on visits. I got to interview him. He was so pumped. And then, it's like he's committed and everything. And then when he decommitted, I was just like, how? Of all the players, how did you lose out on this guy? Like, he was just over the moon to try to play for you. It was just such a disappointing thing.
Is this a safe space? Are we all just safe space here?
I think so.
Always.
Cattrall Wallace.
Yeah.
Dude.
I mean,
Never ended up playing.
Remind me
I got
who he is.
I got a less controversial one. Blaine Toll.
Yeah,
Blaine Toll was he was the prince that was promised.
There was another Dax Courtney.
Dax Courtney was a decent one. Yeah, medically retired at like 19.
Yeah.
Cattrall
Wallace got it. He got into some trouble.
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
He did some bad thing.
Yeah,
because I remember the name, but I didn't remember like
he was like the number one player in the state of Arkansas, I believe, and was like a 4-star, signed with Arkansas, and then ended up I think getting like maybe arrested for something.
There was another. Was it a safety or a DB or something that had signed recently and was a 4-star and a big commitment they had, and that wound up not working out. I want to say he was from Michigan or something, and then he might have wound up being a camel fighting camel or something. But you guys know what I'm talking about? You remember the name?
Yeah, I know. Like that's the thing is, I remember, but I don't know the name. Like it all sounds very familiar though.
Miles Rouser. Thank you, Dalton.
Miles Rouser. He was. I remember writing a signing day story about him that never went out.
Well,
so you'll never know. I tried to cover recruiting. The guy ended up just not going to campus.
Well, I'm not saying anything bad against this guy, but since you guys work for Trey, I'm going to bring up Trey because this is just for me, from my fan perspective. But Giovanni LaFrance, I knew about this guy so much because of Trey, because I would like read about him and watch because he was big on him and he was like how good he looked in practices and he was a linebacker, and the dude like just never played.
Dude, don't get me started on linebackers that are random mediocre linebackers Arkansas had that I convinced myself was going to be nasty. Otha Peters, I was ready. I was like, this dude, 120 tackles, easy work. Dwayne Eugene, a boot boy, I thought he was going to be nice too. Heir apparent to Scooter. What's another linebacker that they had that just was average as hell?
Parker.
Who? Andrew Parker, ace quarterback.
I mean, the dude looked like a Greek god, man, and then just never really.
Andrew Parker's a feisty one, by the way. And by the way, I want to give him credit. I think he did go on to have a pretty good career at App State. I think he was like, had a bunch of tackles, like a team Parker and all that, team captain, all that. If you say one thing negative about him, he will tweet at you 7 times and be like, 112 tackles in the Sun Belt, first team all Sun Belt's not good now, huh? That's what we're saying is bad, huh? It's like, whoa.
Oh, dude. Yeah, because if we're gonna really go down that rabbit hole, I always think about Jeremy Patton, that tight end JUCO guy, and then the Brandon Martin, because both those guys were like the number 1, number 2 JUCO players. And Brandon Martin especially, I saw he was like, oh, dude, this dude's built to be a wide receiver, and just
I thought he was Des Bryant for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it was basically the same.
Yeah,
Alexi Jean Baptiste, bro.
Wow. Yes.
That's a fool right there. And he was another one that like would get stuff written about him in the spring to be like, he looks solid in the spring. And we'd be like,
dude, these names are great. We appreciate this because like Will Gragg is another one, man, who had
Will Gragg. He
could have gone anywhere in the country, literally was that highly regarded and just could not see the field for whatever reason. So.
He made War Machine make a career highlight tape for him when he entered the portal. It was like a minute 30.
Man, let's say that'd be a tough highlight because he just he never saw the field. So there's a lot of examples of players that everybody got excited about and just never actually transpired. I feel like it's always football though. I wonder why that is. Always seems like it's the
man. We got our fair share in every sport. I feel like.
Yeah. Well, because it was even thinking from the baseball angle. Like there's maybe a few, but.
I will say, it's an unfortunate one that we don't really talk about much. Mason Neville, y'all know how nasty that dude is at Oregon right now. I think he's hit like 20 something home runs. He's like he's going to end up being a 1st round pick this year. And I think he had like 27 at bats at Arkansas. And he was behind some really good guys, but like seeing him blossom, that one hurts.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one too.
Jason Jones is always like, he's always, I mean, that's my guy. I like Jason Jones. He's an all-time, like you catch him on the right day and you're like, this dude's a first rounder.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Well, somebody just tweeted at me earlier today when I asked the question. They said Peyton Paulette. And I'm like, all right, relax.
Yeah,
okay,
he's
he
literally
played.
like double A right now.
Yeah.
He's
he
going to
played.
be in the big league like in a year.
Yeah. It's like he played at Arkansas. You know, he didn't play much. He didn't play as much as everybody would have liked, but he did play.
He tore his UCL. God forbid.
Yeah. I can't blame the kid. Don't blame the kid. Yeah. Some people are saying Cheyenne O'Grady too, which he's in a bad spot right now. Apparently got a major warrant out for him. So we'll see. But I hate to see that because he was a very talented, like dude was good.
He was so close to being an NFL player. Like literally like 2 weeks of good behavior away.
Yep.
Was it Colorado State that he just carried their entire team into the end zone before the club dub? Yeah.
Yep. That was when the Arkansas was on that run of tight end U, dude. Like every year they just had, whether it was DJ Williams, then Chris Gregg, then Hunter Henry, Jeremy Sprinkle, AJ Derby. And then there was somebody, I think even after that, but then Cheyenne O'Grady I thought was going to be the next one. And again, talent-wise was there, just had some issues, man.
He had a stretch. He had like 100 yards on the LSU team, like that 2019 LSU team. He cooked some SEC teams, but then I think he ended up getting kicked off the team, and it just didn't work out.
Let's see, get to a few of your chats because I know some other things going on here too. Joby says, "Is Crutchfield on campus and playing?"
He is, but I do think it's notable that that's even a question. You know what I mean? Because it's, from everything I've gathered, he's out there and looks good athletically and everything, but hasn't really emerged. Like I don't know that he's really even on the receiver too deep necessarily at this point. So we'll see. But he's a guy that you need production from, unless some of these other dudes are going to be way better than advertised. Like they like the Ishmael CCE dude from Stanford. But you need Crutchfield to hit, and maybe he's a guy where it just like clicks for him under the lights, or, he'll get it going in fall camp or whatever. But I don't know that he was a standout by any means during the spring, comparatively speaking to the other. I mean, I heard good things more recently about Omega Blake, which is good to hear. But like Raylan Sharp has been getting a lot of the headline CC at the receiver position, but really not that much on
Shanks.
Crutch.
Shanks been getting talked about more than him. But I mean, I think if Omega Blake and CC are two guys that you expect to start on the outside, and then a lot of those slot guys have been, some of the best ones for Arkansas. And then you add in CJ Brown, who I think is at least on the depth chart. Like maybe CJ Brown, we'll see how good he ends up being. At least is getting snaps. I'm pretty sure Trey Biddy put out a depth chart that did not have Courtney Crutchfield on it. Which, by the way, Courtney Crutchfield's spot on the depth chart, as we know, is always up for grabs because Sam Pittman himself last fall was like, dude's not even on the depth chart at Missouri. Like, why would I, this all started. And so it's like, it shouldn't be that much of a surprise, but I think there were a lot of people who really thought he might be like one of Arkansas's top 2 or 3 guys.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm not saying since we're talking about it, but he could end up being one of those players. Hopefully not, but he could end up one of those players that you remember hearing about, talking about, being excited about, but then just never sees the field.
Well, if he's not seeing the field, he's going to be the guy that we hear about the most. So like, why the hell isn't he playing? Whatever, especially if they have a game where the offense is sputtering or whatever, like he'll eventually get his chance. And maybe he emerges, in the fall. I don't take a whole lot of stock into the spring. And so he's got all a camp to work his way up into the rotation and the mix there. We'll see, man.
He'll be the next TJ Hammonds.
I mean, no doubt.
Yeah, him, KK Robinson, like all those players are just, the game is throws. Like, why not just throw them in there? Because as I say all the time, coaches are notorious for benching players and not playing players that are really good at the sports. Like they really do that all the time. Come on now. More chats here. Just WPS from the guy from Austin says, I smoked a Marlboro Light with Brandon Allen Dixon back in the day. He told me Ray Peavy was trash. LOL. Great story.
That's just a good comment. I like that.
Weirdly enough, I believe every bit of that.
It checks out. It really does.
Yeah, just ripping a heater, just being like, that guy sucks. He's trash. Sitting there at Z Bar after a couple of Vegas bombs.
I mean, I can think about you're an upperclassman quarterback, and you've been hearing all this stuff about this quarterback that's going to come in, and at that point in time, Brandon Allen was probably pretty polarizing. I bet there were some people on the internet that were like, "Oh, Peavy will come in and start," and so I bet he probably took some delight in Rafe Peavy not being good.
Yeah. I want to pass this along real quick because we'll get into our heavy hitters. But this was something that I guess for the whole Nico situation, the Madden situation, and all that. This was an article put out. I wish someone just screenshot it, but I believe it's from CBS Sports. But either way, it's talking about Nico from Tennessee. It says later that night, sources close to Nico said he reached his breaking point. He couldn't understand why the reports were coming out, where they were coming from, or who he could trust going forward as far as him going in the portal. And he felt pressure to make his decision about the future. He was ready to leave, sources said, but his father encouraged him to sleep on the decision. The next morning, Nico didn't show up for Friday practice or meetings and didn't alert anyone in the program. Nick, talking about his father, urged his son to go in and meet face-to-face with Heupel and his coaches to work things out. But Nico felt betrayed and did not speak with Heupel on Friday. Several people within the Vols program tried to reach out to the quarterback, but to no avail. So apparently now they're saying that that Nico was the one that was like, I didn't, even though his dad encouraged him to, he's like, no, I'm not talking to them. I feel betrayed because somebody leaked out the report that I was trying to leave. So anyways, just another little wrinkle in everything that's going on there. But I tell you what, let's go ahead and jump into who our heavy hitters are. Presented by our friends over at HD Roofing and Construction. We know storms have been happening here in the state of Arkansas because it is that time of year and is that season. And hopefully no more storms and anything of that magnitude end up happening. But if they do, and you have damage done to your home, be sure to contact our friends over at HD Roofing because they are going to give you that peace of mind with a free inspection of your home. And when you choose HD Roofing, you know you're going to get professionalism, top quality materials, and expert installation for all of your roofing needs here in the state of Arkansas. They're a local company. They love the Razorbacks, but they love Arkansans, and they want to help you out. So you can call them today at 501-428-0429. You can also check out their website at hdarkansas.com. for all of your roofing needs. It's our friends over at HD Roofing. So, all right. So I tell you what, I want you guys to go and give your heavy hitters first, because I feel like it's a good one to end on for me. So, Curtis, I guess you go for your heavy hitter.
Okay. I've got two quick ones before that though, because since I asked and then everybody kind of did what I asked for, shout out to the folks listening in the state of Washington, McMinnville, Tennessee, Batesville, Arkansas, Charlotte, North Carolina, Louisiana, Yale County, Arkansas, Wiener, Arkansas, and the Philippines. Very cool.
We got the Philippines out there.
Shout out to y'all, man. I like that.
Love it.
Let's see. Heavy hit. Okay, so I've got two. One is kind of joking but funny, but the other one's serious. How about Carter Knox? Y'all see that? Everybody's freaking out about it. The no ceilings mock draft came out. It had him at 36, an early second round pick. So everybody's like, "Oh shoot!" I'm still not. I'm not sweating it, guys. I'm really not. And in the off chance that he did remain in the draft, I promise you, Arkansas will have adequate replacements. I promise you, it will not be a deal to where Carter stays in the draft and they're just like, oh. What
do we do?
Yeah, I still stand firm that he's going to wind up back at Arkansas. If he doesn't, they're going to get really good players. Not stressing it, but I wanted to address it. But good on him. I mean, it's it's one mock draft or whatever, but it shows the people took notice to what he did in the NCAA tournament when he was just absolutely balling out, man. So that's one. The second one, I can't believe I'm saying this. Matt Jones of Kentucky Sports Radio. I'm giving him a heavy hitter, and here's why. Hear me out. Because there's been so much nonsense the last 24 hours about Kentucky basketball and their $20 million roster. And I've been trying to do the math on it the entire time. I'm just like, listen, if this roster cost them $20 million, they're really not going to get the bang for their buck, man. I'm not saying it's a bad roster by any means, but it's not a $20 million. That's insane. That's twice as much as anybody else has. And I was talking to people on the Discord, like Arkansas could add PJ Haggerty, Chad Baker-Mazara, and Jameer Watkins to what they already have, and it wouldn't be a $20 million roster. That's insane. So I was happy to see Matt Jones tweeting out today, and he had one. He was like, I continue to believe that all publicly reported NIL numbers are incorrect. The people leaking those numbers are all agents, and they have an incentive to exaggerate, to raise the market. And look, they got there and get their client a huge number. And then he followed up and he said, Kentucky will likely be a top 3 spender in basketball NIL, which I probably agree with. But the $20 million number being floated around is way high. Thank you for somebody, just because I get it. Like if we were hearing that on the Arkansas front, we'd be like, oh baby, but that's crazy, man. And so I'm glad that somebody over there finally said, listen, this is a little bit outrageous. Let's dial it back a little bit. They're spending, but they're not spending twice as much as everybody else in the country. So good on Matt Jones for at least having a shred of decency to be honest about this. I'll give him credit.
Yeah, I like that. I had not seen his take on that. That's good stuff. And I think he's right. No doubt about that. I mean, and I do think Kentucky, I like you said, it's a good roster, but it's definitely not a 20 million. Like, we don't have to just make things up to feel good about ourselves here. But hey, like you said, we would have done the same thing in that same spot. I'm a little bit nervous about my heavy hitter because we just had a long conversation about people who, we talk about a lot who never really wind up playing or doing anything. Hunter Dietz is scheduled potentially, maybe, possibly, to make his Arkansas or his season debut tonight against Little Rock. Out of nowhere yesterday, Dave just drops that on the pregame radio. He's like, yeah, we're probably going to throw Hunter Dietz either today or tomorrow. And obviously didn't throw last night in the 7-inning game. So it looks like he will throw tonight at some point. Colin Fisher's going to start on the mound, so it's not to start. Hunter Dietz, who was Arkansas's #1 high school recruit last year in last year's class, rated above Gackle, rated above Helfrich, rated above Souza, rated above Cam Kojal, all these guys. He only pitched, I guess, an inning and a third last year for Arkansas and looked good, but, just kind of never got that arm healthy. Ended up having a procedure in the offseason, and he's been kind of just throwing behind scenes, and it just hadn't looked great. Like, his velo wasn't there. His command was all over the place. So they were like, hey, it's going to be a slow burn with him. We're just going to kind of put this on the back burner. And it's been about a month since we had last heard anything about him. They said he's been throwing the ball a little bit better behind closed doors. They will see. The last time we saw him pitch on a mound against hitters at the University of Arkansas, he was unbelievable, both in the short time last year, but also in the fall when he first got on campus. If he can give Arkansas anything, he has a chance to be like a real weapon. And Arkansas could certainly use a lefty in the bullpen right now. And so did not expect it to happen the most random time, but would be really cool if Hunter Dietz just kind of jumped right into that mix. We thought this might happen. I'd kind of given up hope a little bit, but I'm excited. I know a lot of people are going to be excited to see Hunter Dietz. Yeah,
no, I'd be excited about it too, because he's a name, again, as you said, been mentioned a lot, but haven't really seen a whole lot of him playing out there. But with the baseball side, this isn't my main one, but my baseball one, how about Razorback baseball? I know about postseason. I'm not trying to say that this is the coolest thing ever, but 12 run rule games so far this year, 12 run rule wins is pretty impressive. I don't care who it's against. I don't care how you're doing it. 12 games where you have run ruled your opponent is pretty cool. So, considering you have never been run ruled this season, and knock on wood that you don't ever get run ruled this season. So, but yeah, definitely shout out to them. I'm going to have some fun with this one. I'm going to be honest, but my heavy hitter, or at least my biggest heavy hitter today, is something that we absolutely need to start discussing here, and that is this.
Oh, jeez, dude.
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
So we got tagged in this tweet yesterday about Chat GPT apparently wanting to pit Andrew Ellis and Curtis Wilkerson against each other in a fight to the death. I don't really understand why anyone would want that or why anyone typed that in, but here we are. So this is how it all went down. It starts with, oh, snap. You're deep in the Arkansas media trenches now. Andrew Ellis versus Curtis Wilkerson is like Razorback Twitter after a bad third quarter, ready to explode with stats and subtle shade. This one's personal. Now, this is where, can't get everything right. Hog Sports versus Hogs Plus. So I don't know which one of you.
Did they specify?
Yeah. I think I'm Hog Sports, and I think Curtis is Hogs Plus.
I think
that's really disrespectful.
Yeah. Apparently, the Curtis has been moonlighting over there at Hogs Plus, according to Chat GPT. But it's the notebook versus analytics, smooth takes versus surgical breakdown. So we start here, and then it goes into Andrew Ellis. Chill, Clean writing style, gives the info but keeps it real. Always active on the Hogs beat. Knows when to be spicy and when to drop facts. Probably grew up watching every Arkansas sport. Quiet assassin type.
Quiet assassin type. That describes me to a T, I would say.
That's true. He says his strengths are composed, tactical, can land precise jabs with dry sarcasm, but his weakness is not the most physically intimidating. He's here to write, not wrestle.
That's crazy.
I'm here to write. I'm here to write, and I'm the quiet assassin type. I agree with most of that. Most of those things. I am composed and I am tactical.
Okay. I was going to ask you like what the agree and disagrees were.
Would you describe yourself as physically intimidating?
No, I wouldn't. I'm cool with that. Not the most physically intimidating. But I do agree with quiet assassin.
Okay.
Yeah. Watchful protector and all that. Well, those are the attributes there of Andrew. Curtis over here. Analyst with a sharp eye. Basketball IQ through the roof. When he breaks down plays, you can tell he could probably break down a man too.
Damn right.
Has that don't mistake calm for soft energy. His strengths being high IQ, thoughtful, moves like a coach, but hits like a linebacker if needed.
Curtis, I love the don't mistake calm for soft energy. I love that.
I don't like to speak on myself, but I think that's accurate. I really do.
Yeah,
I do. This is not bad. Not bad at all.
And the weaknesses is might take a bit to warm up. Too analytical in a street brawl.
I am getting older, you know. Like it might take me a minute to find a groove, get loosened up. Might be stiff out there.
You need to find the range.
Yeah, I gotta find the range. I think that there's some truth to this.
A lot of fans.
And I love that it, you know, like we're bolded here with the basketball IQ through the roof. That's if AI is picking up on that, that tells me
like
good things.
A linebacker if needed.
I like that. I like it.
Yeah. Well, now we got
coach. It's like a linebacker. That's wild, man.
Now you have to choose your fighter because now it's been the attributes been thrown out there. You got to choose your fighter out here. So here's the fight. This is how it breaks down. Ellis comes in with a subtle confidence, like he's just going to outthink you and tweet it before you react. Curtis shows up with game tape, watching Ellis's past movements like it's film day. First swing is Ellis trying to go for the sneak clapback, but Curtis slides to the left. Euro steps and hits him with a stat-laced uppercut. Ellis recovers and drops a verbal grenade about the Hogs transfer portal moves. Curtis nods, smirks, and then hits him with a 2-punch combo. One jab, one analytic bomb.
I would pull a Kim Pom number.
This is just so
I want to know
absurd,
what my take was about the portal moves. That had a verbal grenade.
Yeah. It's not just like a verbal jab, a verbal shot. It's a verbal grenade. You must have
really fired Curtis up, whatever it was, because he came back strong.
Yeah, come back smirking about it, man. He just was smirking and everything. That's how the fight gets drawn out a little bit. But the winner becomes Curtis Wilkerson because it's a chess match the whole way. Curtis breaks him down like a half-court defense. Ellis holds his own, smart, smooth, and calculated. But Curtis turns up the heat late and closes the deal. But if this was a who wins the fan base battle, Ellis has the swagger. The guy who took this, I can't see the arrow because he screenshot it, but the swagger meme game to take the W is what I assume it says.
The swagger meme game?
That's what I assume that's saying. I could be wrong.
Swagger meme game. Yeah, I don't know. I would agree with that.
I think it went to the cards.
I will put Curtis over for the show, for the production, but I win the hearts of the fan base. I'm cool with that.
Yeah. Yeah. He's Andrew's the one that everyone cheers for in the place because they love the guy. He's always going to have the fans, but Curtis is
and Curtis is the heel as always.
Yeah, and he's the one everyone boos because
that's exactly how this goes.
They boo his success. That is true. Yeah.
Yep, they boo his success. So, guys, this was my heavy hitters. The fight you guys had via Chat GPT. So
that was insane. When I got tagged in that last night, and I saw all the screenshots, I was like, "What the hell is this?" Hilarious though. That was really good, really funny.
And correct me if I'm wrong, didn't Daniel Shee get in on this somehow?
Yeah, he did.
Did he end up having? I should have looked at it, but did he end up any fights or anything that was going on there?
Yeah, they sent a full breakdown of the fight between me versus Daniel Shee. I just screenshotted the portion that I liked and wanted to run with it. It says Daniel Shee versus Andrew Ellis, Razorback Reporters Rumble. Both Daniel Shee and Andrew Ellis are prominent figures in Arkansas sports journalism, each bringing their unique flair to covering the Razorbacks. I stopped reading after that.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I like that. Daniel Shee's unique flair to covering the Razorbacks is hating the Razorbacks. So
yeah, he hates it.
we got,
Hates the Hogs.
I know he's listening right now. So
And I was curious. We don't have to read it, but I didn't see even who won. So I guess maybe it was just a hard.
that one didn't have a winner, did it?
I didn't.
I
see
really
it.
don't remember.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So there you go.
Couldn't call it. Too close to call.
I'm just glad y'all are getting included in weird stuff instead of me all the time. I'm glad that's happening.
Feels good, man.
You've gotten your fair share.
I've trust me, I do. And I was honestly shocked when they put you two against each other. I was like, finally, okay, so I can just sit back and watch it and laugh.
I mean, I think we had to be against each other. Everyone knows that we'd be the tag team champs against anyone if it came down to it. So,
Well, yeah, and also I do think that like there's always like at some point in Curtis and I's path, like there's one of us is gonna stab each other in the back at some point. Like someone's gonna hold the knife. Like, and I think everyone in like the state of Arkansas can kind of feel it looming. You know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, because of my weird mind, and especially when I was lacking sleep last night when I was looking at this. I don't know why I felt this way, but I feel like, Andrew, you would do the thing if you actually got into a fight. You'd be like, hey, man, come on. Like, let's just chill out here. Let's just chill out. Like, we're just doing it. And bam, and just like hit him like right there as you're trying to like, hey, it's no big deal. No big deal. And then you just give him the old 1-2.
Yeah.
And he's
out. Never
Just,
relax.
Yeah. Dropped him. Just drop him or whoever it is. But the problem is Curtis is 8 feet tall and he's got that reach. So it'd be tough to try to overcome.
He's a larger man.
I move like a coach, though.
That's right. You move like a coach, pressuring like that half court defense or whatever it was like, man. Just that was good though. Yeah. So Jaron, I think is his name. Appreciate you, Jaron. That applies to Jaron.
Jaron.
All right, sorry, Jaron.
I mean, I'm just spitballing here.
Let's just say both, so that way we're covered our bases there too. Yeah, thanks, Joe. He's
Farmer Don. Go ahead.
Just say John is the ring girl. I'm like, yeah, thanks, Joe.
Farmer Don says I'd hit him in the back. I wouldn't do that, but I would like unlace the turnbuckle. You know, the brass knuckles
when the ref's not looking, type of thing.
I'd like dump the bag of thumbtacks, and then do the body slam or whatever. There'd be some cheapness to it, but it wouldn't be a back attack.
Yeah. Well, David says, like John says, Andrew would cheap shot someone. I don't think it's not cheap shotting. It's just strategy.
Yeah, that's kind of what you said.
I don't think there's once a fight begins. I don't think there's no such thing as a cheap shot.
Yeah.
You can get in a shot. You can get in a shot.
Yeah. To me, a cheap shot is the fight is not on and they're like not paying attention and they don't expect it. But if there's an engagement, there's no such thing as that. So, Luke also says John has a future in reading books to kids in elementary schools. I don't want to know.
You did do a good job reading that, I would say.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I didn't know if it was something because I couldn't read and he was like, I read to kids because that's my read level. I just assume everyone insults me. So it's like I assume the worst. That was really good too. I'll tell you what, we got about 15 minutes here. And then Matt Besser, a comedian, is going to be joining us. We're going to hear from him. Just talk about basketball. He's got a show coming up in Little Rock. A lot of people may know who he is, and if not, watch The Hangover. Watch the what is it? The Walk Hard, which I'll admit I've seen a few times, but pretty good stuff. But he's a comedian. He's a Razorback fan, and we'll talk to him in just a second. But let's go ahead and get into some headlines as well as your chats presented by our friends over at BetSaracen. It's the #1 sports betting app in the state of Arkansas. It's not even close. Got specials going on. Razorback baseball tonight. They're going to have Razorback baseball this weekend. NBA playoffs going on. All the parlays, all of the lines, the spreads, the everything. I mean, anything you want to do when it comes to sports betting here in the state of Arkansas, there's only one, BetSaracen. So download the app today on your iPhone or on your Android, or you can get to betting at BetSaracen.com. So we did mention, though, that Razorback baseball took care of business in a run rule game last night. It's going to be playing again this afternoon. 5 p.m. will be the first pitch there. And Andrew, who's pitching for tonight?
Alan Fisher's starting on the bump.
Right. Yeah. I keep wanting to say Gibbler. I don't know why I keep wanting to say Gibbler and Fisher when I get Fisher. But anyway.
Gibbler will probably throw at some point, I would imagine. It's going to be kind of tough. These games 2 days before, they're not thrilled about having to play. I know that.
Yeah. But yeah, that game's going to be going on tonight at 5 o'clock, or I guess this evening, this afternoon, whatever you want to call it. But once again, it's Bark at the Park night. So be sure you register your dog. You have to register them online before you take them. But I did go and take Rowdy last night. Some people were asking.
Yeah, people in the chat were asking for a Rowdy update. So
yeah, I took him, and we made it almost 3 innings. He was miserable. There's ways I know how miserable he was. He did okay, but I literally was holding a treat in my hand in front of his face, and he wasn't taking it. He wasn't having it because he knows I'm trying to bribe him, and he was like, nope. He knew exactly where that hog pen exit was. And anytime that we even walked a little bit that way, he was sprinting towards that thing. So, but he did okay. It's not. I wanted to try it, say I did, but not his cup of tea. The flags, guys, it's out in the hog pen. When they hit a home run, all those flags go up and they wave them. That did him in. He was fine, but once that happened, once Iredale hit that home run, curtains. It was over with. So. But there was a lot of dogs out there, a lot of good ones. I only saw a dog fight happen once, which is another thing too, folks. I'm going to use this as a PSA. Keep your dogs on a leash, and if you are on a leash and they're big dogs, have someone who's strong enough to hold them on their leash. I'm not going to name names, but just do that, please. I don't understand people like that. But anyway.
It doesn't seem like too big of an ask.
I know. I didn't think that it was that big of a deal, but just like sitting there, and I'm not going to call anybody out. It's just one of my pet peeves of not everyone's like, oh, but they're so loving. Well, dogs have instincts and they're still dogs. And if they see another dog and they get into it, that's just what has to happen. So
were there feces everywhere?
I not where I was walking. So luckily not. They gave out bags to grab it. And which they also gave a little Razorback ball, which I think Rowdy's eaten already. So little things like that. But it's still a cool thing. If your dog, because yesterday was beautiful and today's going to be even just as nice. So, the weather's great, everything. But yeah, just make sure you register your dog on ArkansasRazorbacks.com if you're going to be going in, and you have to have a ticket still. The dog doesn't have to have a ticket, but they have to have a ticket. And they also said they took a picture of my dog for the social media. He never made it. I think there was some conspiracy going on. I think they're like, wait a minute, that's John Neighbor's dog. Can't have him on there.
Damn.
Yeah. So, but either way, appreciate people. Actually, it was kind of cool. There's like 2 people that came up. They're like, "Is this Rowdy?" It's like, "Hey, look, you're famous for all the wrong reasons." So, anyways, that's gonna be happening tonight, though. But he was good. He was a good boy. So, glad everybody was concerned about it. Let's see a few chats here. Logan says, "Can we have your lock of the day, please, Ellis?"
Rockets. I don't even know what the spread is tonight, but the Rockets are they're bouncing back tonight, beating the Warriors.
Wow. Okay.
Uh-huh.
They must. I will say, like we the Rockets played it. It was super low scoring, and we still had a chance to win despite Steph going for like 35. Jimmy Butler also had a good game. I think he had like 28. They pretty much outscored the Rockets by themselves.
Are you thinking with your heart here, or
a little bit? But also, I think the series is going to go about 6.
Okay.
It's like I think the Warriors will end up winning it. I felt like they would win it the whole time, but I do think the Rockets will bounce back. They defended them pretty well last game. They'll be all right. We just got to make some shots.
All right. There's your lock right there, Logan. Hopefully that helps you out. Chris wants to know, does Andrew have a dog?
No. Me and Hillary got a dog once, but she's allergic to dog hair. And it's not that bad with most dogs, but it's kind of tough to have one at home.
Did you grow up with dogs? Like, did you?
Yeah. We always had dogs. My family, we're big on basset hounds. The dog I had that was like my dog growing up was a basset hound mixed with an Australian shepherd. Best dog ever. But like now my parents have a basset hound, so every time I go home, I love rubbing on that basset hound, man. He's a big old fat droopy bastard.
I like it.
Yeah. I only had 2 dogs growing up. One of them I really loved. The other one was kind of like given to us and it was awful. But yeah, there was cats too. I don't remember why. Fish. We had a lot of random pets that no one really wanted. I had a hedgehog once.
I had a fish named Lil Wayne.
I like that a lot. I had a rabbit for a small amount of time and had a parrot named Twinkie. But there was a time period there where my mom, it was just like her thing. And we had over 24 birds in our house. Like our dining room was converted into a bird atrium or whatever the hell you want to call it. It was like parakeets, cockatiels, and lovebirds everywhere. One time she was French fries for dinner, and a bird flew in the grease, and she like instinctually like put her hand in, like burned the crap out of her hand. Dead bird, burned hand, urgent care, crazy. I was like 11.
God.
It was nuts, dude. Anyway,
I
hate birds.
I did not know you grew up with birds.
birds, I hated it. Loud,
Yeah, that
tweeting
sucks.
all the time, and not the kind of tweeting that you do with your thumb. That was before Twitter, you know.
Oh man,
My nerves, man.
I think I told you this, Curse, but like, yeah, I don't hate many animals, but I hate birds. Any kind of bird. I
like
birds.
the parrot, man. Like the parrot was cool. It'd hang out on your shoulder and eat Cheetos or whatever, but the rest of them, they serve no purpose.
Yeah,
They didn't talk.
The parrot, oh yeah, yeah.
It would talk a little bit.
Mhm. Yeah, say things it shouldn't have said, but yeah, it was a cool parrot, man.
Yeah, I just again, I hate them.
Twinkie.
Mhm.
That's crazy.
Trust me, I know.
Jeez. Let's see. Few chats here too. Brent says, Andrew, Dave said Brent might play. Do you know if he was on the roster for tonight?
Well, everybody's on the roster for tonight. But he probably won't play. They'll post the lineup here in a couple hours. I'm good. I imagine a lot of starters will get the day off tonight. You might even, you probably won't. I was gonna say you might even see Vahiva Aloy, who's never taken a day off. Even he might take a day off today. They really are not going to throw their best foot forward for this game tonight. So I'd imagine Iredale will probably be out. But Dave acted like he was like, no, he like cut his finger. Like he'll be fine. I don't think you should worry about him for the weekend, but I think you're going to see a lot of, like, you might see Frazier at short, but I think it's going to be a lot of, hopefully Rocco Pepe's in there, but it's going to be the B team tonight for sure.
Well, Mason says, did y'all hear Dave Van Horn flip the couch after A&M game?
I did not hear that, but
wouldn't surprise me.
No, I mean, yeah, he was very snippy in the press conference afterwards. So I could see him going back there, throwing some furniture around. Sometimes you got to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I don't know about furniture, but the one story I always remember is Trent Daniel told me, and hopefully he doesn't get in trouble from Dave, but it was at Georgia. They lost the series to Georgia in Athens. Who would have guessed? And they had a whole table of Chick-fil-A, and Dave, as soon as the game ended, they were all about to go up there and get it, and he just flips it all over and goes everywhere. And then he kicks a helmet and almost hits somebody in the head, and he didn't even blink or apologize or anything. And I asked him, I was like, well, was any of the Chick-fil-A good? Like, is it still like, usable? He's like, yeah, still some of it was in boxes, but we weren't going to touch it. It's like, just because like, you don't want him to come in there and be like, I kicked that over so y'all wouldn't eat it because you don't deserve it. So
I would have walked out of there with a fat sack. Anyway.
I was going to say, there's no chance. Love DVH and respect them. There's no chance I wouldn't have grabbed chicken. I would have 1,000% grabbed chicken. I would have taken it off the floor, bro.
Let's see. Also, man, SCT, I guess I made fun of the hog pen today, so he's at me. But he says, I feel like John talks so much one day, Rowdy will one day just start talking back to him, and John will have a heart attack right in the middle of his makeup routine. Could happen.
Could be like Ted.
Yeah. Yep. Could end up being if Rowdy could speak, which he can't. He's never even barked. So, yeah, because even David's like, Rowdy is antisocial because John talks to death at home. I will say he does just because I'm on my second story. He goes up to the third floor when I'm doing the show and everything because he's like, I'm trying to sleep and I don't want to hear you talk. So, but he comes back down usually during when I'm not.
When you stop, he just comes back down.
Yes, exactly right. So that's what happens there. So at least we have a good way of approaching it. But let's see. Double H, this is early in the show, but it says Curtis has the only acceptable haircut. Roll out of bed and it's fixed.
That was initially why it was like that. That was literally my thought process when I was getting up and going to work and everything. I was like, I can't deal with this, man. I'm not going to. And buzzed her up one time and it was a wrap.
Counterpoint. I roll out of bed a lot of times, and this is, I don't touch my hair at all. Just wake up and fire.
I've seen your comb.
Yeah, sometimes I got to after showers. Definitely have to brush my hair then, but it's there's not much to do. Your hair can be fixed if your hair just looks bad every day.
Somebody, maybe it was Michelle. I don't want to put words into her mouth. Somebody asked me since we've been, on all these road trips or whatever, like, does Andrew like blow dry his hair? Does he do all that? And I was like, I don't ever remember that happening anytime we've been on road trips or anything. So
I used to blow dry my hair when I was a kid.
Really?
I was trying to get like the Bieber swoop thing going, like tried to make it look cool. And I didn't want to go to school with it wet because that's when it would get all crazy. But now it just kind of is what it is. But I'll blow about once every 3 months. I'll blow dry my hair.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
You have a really nice one. You know what I mean? It's just there. I'm like, might as well. But I don't do it. It's not like a daily thing for sure.
Well, even St. Luigi said John's stylist was unavailable for this morning's appointment, so hence the hat. Like, I'm just going to deal with the allegations that I have like this entire like beauty line that's up there in my room of like, I just got to go through these processes of, the face, the body, the hair, the eyes, everything. What
do they call it? The setup that women have. It's like almost like a cabinet. They open it up and there's like 3 mirrors and they've got all the makeup and everything.
Yeah. What is the term for that?
Where's my wife when I need her? Where's she at?
That is, because someone's going to say it in the chat. I know, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. I keep wanting to say wardrobe, but that's how you get to Narnia.
That's kind of what I was wanting to say too, but I was like, that's not it.
Yeah. Vanity.
Thank you. There's my wife when I need. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. Vanity. I was going to say shiffer robe, but I don't even know what that is.
I was getting ready to say that too. And I feel I'm exactly the same boat. I don't know what that is. So,
and I don't even know why I know it and what I've heard from, but it sounded good. Any of those times. So,
hey, how far away do y'all think I am from being able to have dreads?
You could do it now, couldn't you?
Yeah, I'm about to say
it would be pretty. They'd probably just not be that long. But you think I got enough hair for dreads?
Would you do it?
So.
I think so.
It might be a worthwhile adventure.
That would be.
And once you do it, everyone's just gonna be like, "Oh, Post Malone! It's Post Malone over there." Like
dreads would be crazy.
Yeah, I don't know if
in your Patty Pimblett phase.
I'm definitely not gonna do it like full time, but for like a specific occasion, might have to. Maybe for Omaha, I'll go dreads.
Yeah. Did you guys I know we're wrapping up, we're mailing it in, but like, did y'all? What's the wildest thing you've ever done in your hair in your life, as far as like a style you went with? Like even when you were a kid, like what was the wildest style that you had of your hair?
Yeah, nothing real like for the Spirit Day stuff, I'd gel the crap out of it into a mohawk or something, and because it was pretty long. If I could ever find my high school graduation picture, I had a healthy head of hair there. And then we'd get that like that washable spray paint, for the school color, so it was an orange mohawk. But that was about it. So never did anything.
I like that. Crazy. You never got your like baseball number into your head?
Nah.
A lot of people were doing that when I was a kid. I didn't have anything real bad. I mean, when I was in 8th grade, I just shaved my head buzzed, and I have such a bad widow's peak that like me with a buzz cut, it's like it's kind of unacceptable. It's a horrible widow's peak. But when I was about 8 years old, I got like blonde highlights in my hair. That was back in that era when people were doing shit like that. And I remember my mom made me go to this woman's house. I'm not gonna say the woman's name, because I think she still is friends with my mom, but I was terrified. She used to rip cigs like it was her job. And she did not stop ripping cigs the entire time she was doing the highlights in my hair. And I just remember my mom leaving me. She dropped me there and left. And I was like at this, like what I thought was like a crackhead's house. I was like, this is horrible. It was one of the scariest moments of my life. And I came out of it with blonde highlights.
Man, well, I had a bowl cut when I was a kid. I think is what it's called. Like where, it was like it was the style then. So I had that. I also had the highlights. It's shocking to everybody, I know. But just during the boy band stuff, it was a big deal to have it, and it was the hair where it was gelled with LA look, and you had the spike in the front of the head that was going up. That was the look, man.
Yeah. You got to understand McCrory, Arkansas. I mean, there's one barber. It was Haircut Chuck. You give him a $5 bill and he just cuts your hair. Like, you don't ask questions. He just cuts it, man. So
just does his job.
He might still be in business for all I know, but
yeah, it
was a family operation. It was Haircut Chuck and Linda, and Chuck would cut the dude's hairs, and Linda had the little beauty salon thing. So,
oh, dude, yeah, I love anybody that's got that name. He's all right in my book. That's for sure. So, but hey, listen, we have a very special guest coming up, Matt Besser, who is a friend of the show and friend of mine, a good guy that's you've seen him in a bunch of movies. He's a comedian. He does improv for humans. He's wanted to talk about Razorback basketball. And he has a show coming up in his hometown, Little Rock, this week. So let's go ahead and hear from our friend Matt and talk a little nonsense and cover your ears, kids, because it might get a little dicey. Right now, here on Inside Arkansas Live, we have a very special guest. You have probably seen him on Twitter. You probably know him, especially if you're a Razorback fan. You've seen some of his movies, some of his stand-ups, some of his comedy specials. And he's a very dear friend who cares a lot about the Hogs. So let's talk a little bit more with our friend Matt Besser. He is the host of the Improv for Humans, and he's going to be performing April 26th right down there in Little Rock at the Whitewater Tavern. But Matt, it's been a long time, man. Good to see you in San Fran, but how's everything been going for you?
Yeah, I saw you cross the way in San Francisco. Well, first off, let me say, Hog Nation, I'm all in. I love that Calipari video the other day with everybody doing the all in because I'm an actor and I like seeing everyone's line reads.
Yes. Yes.
I love TB, but his line read was like, Razorback Nation, I'm all in with Big Suey.
Yep. You can tell who the ones that are down for that and like enjoy that, and then you can tell the ones that are just like, man, I really don't want to do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
But hey, it doesn't
Nation,
matter
I'm
about
all in with Big Suey.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't matter about the tone; it just matters about the words, right? And they're all in. They're all in on that. So, but yeah, what a great thing. I know you're a Razorback fan through and through, no matter the sport, but seems like basketball, kind of like a lot of people, it seems to be your main thing. And how about that? I know, the game against Texas Tech didn't go well, but Sweet 16, man, that was an awesome time.
Yeah. I saw you at the Sweet 16. I couldn't make it to Rhode Island. I was like, oh, that is so far away because I live in Glendale, Los Angeles. But when it was in San Francisco, I was like, I'm there, buddy. So I was there. I waved at you from across the way, and I'm all. John, we've discussed this. I'm usually the loudest guy for better or for worse in my section. Okay. And in that game, it was for better the whole game. And weren't you scared to get cocky though?
Oh, always.
And I know you're a journalist now, but you know what it's like to still be a fan, out in the stands, and you get louder, more cocky as the game goes on. But as a Razorback fan, you're like, it reminded me of the football game in Darren McFadden, the Bring the Wood game, where we were winning, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. And no one expected us. We're a double, we're the only double seed. No one expected us. And like in the first half, you're like, okay, first half, and then we're up. And the second half starts, now we're up by like 16. And we're getting so loud and cocky. Well, two things happened. I think I tweeted you during the game, but someone came up to me at the usher came up to me at halftime and said, sir, we've been told you were cursing during the first half, and you're going to have to leave if you keep cursing. And I was with my daughter, my 11-year-old, and I'm in my head going, was I cursing? I'm loud, but I'm not like a guy going, MFer, blah, blah, blah. I'm not that guy. But I was saying, throw that shit out of there. There were a lot of blocks. It was a block party, that game. And I was like, throw that shit out of there. And I was like, oh my God, I came all the way to San Francisco. I'm going to get kicked out for saying that, which I've said a million times. But John, this is what stuck with me from that game that I'd like to carry into the transfer portal talk.
Yeah.
There's three big moments in that game. First off, when Nelly got the jump ball call near the end, that happened like that, like the day I lost my virginity. It was like, boom. And it was that short too. And anyone, and that's where I was too. I was behind that goal. So I had a really good view on that. And we all Hog fans that had that were like, what? That was not. So that moment stuck with me. And then the other moment, I think you would agree, there was a moment where Texas Tech rebounded the ball 8 times in a row. I'm pretty sure it was 8 times. And Big Z was there. He was there. Right underneath the basket the whole time. And it was very significant at that time. I feel like there are just a few minutes left. And if we got that possession, we could knock off another 20. It was significant. And then they scored after all 8 rebounds. In that moment, as much as we loved Big Z, every Razorback fan had to question, what are we doing here, man? We gotta have someone who's not gonna let the other team rebound it 8 times, even if you can shoot threes.
Yep.
And then the other moment was the last moment when DJ shot really quick instead of pounding it out another 20 seconds. But my observation on that was I love that guy. And he was so tough in that game and all the games before. I'll give that to him. Unlike Big Z in that same game, I was like, dude, you can't have that nonsense. I will, and I wanted him back bad. And I felt like it was almost underrated. His dribble drive of the dribble drive offense was so important to the Razorbacks at the end of the season. I was like, I want that back. I like that. At point guard, he's strong and unstoppable. So that was my thoughts on that game and what it made me feel like about the portal, getting people back or losing people.
Yeah, I was really excited about the possibility of getting a few of these guys back because, retention just doesn't really exist anymore. And, it's so funny to me that, and this is assuming that Carter Knox is coming back, which I believe he does. I think he's just testing the waters. And I think because I think everybody would love to have him back. But, Cal's always been known for, you one and done coach. You just have players that come and go as they please. Where assuming Carter Knox comes back, Arkansas is going to have the most retention of any SEC team next year. So
and that's only 4 players?
Yeah, 4 players.
That's nuts. That's nuts.
I know. And it's like, and it's so great to, again, you don't want to, the way you lost to Texas Tech sucks and it's going to sting. But I keep trying to tell people, and I know you know this, Matt, like, Arkansas has gone to the Sweet 16 4 out of the last 5 years. That includes 2 Elite Eights. People just don't understand how insane that is. I know you want to get further, and you're not going to just say like, "Oh, we won the championship because we made it to the Sweet 16." But it's like you did it with 2 different coaches with basically different players each and every time. And then you think about all these other teams that had these great seasons, number 3 seeds or whatever. They lose in the first round. Like Razorback fans. The season wasn't great.
Milestones in this year that, the first one was they lost those 5 games and we were all like done. Everyone was done. Everyone was so mad at Nelly. Everyone was so mad at A2. Everyone was so mad and just done with and they literally, I don't think, could have lost one more game. Well, they did, but you know what I mean. Right. There was no more losing to be had. And it just turned around storybook. But the next milestone, I believe, was Kentucky. Beating Kentucky after they talked so much BS.
Oh, dude.
Especially to us Twitter hogs. It was just like,
I
don't know about you, but at that point, it's like, okay, this season's fine. You can lose the rest of the games. I'm fine because I can. And there was one more thing in my head, but I'd like you to beat Texas because I'm an old school hog fan. And I'm like, I'd like you to beat Texas, though. And then we did twice. So then you've beaten Kentucky and Texas twice. I'm like, I'm good with the season. And then it was like, we might get in. And then we did. And then it was like, Coach Cal loses in the first round. So now that was the next thing we had to get past.
Yep.
And Kentucky again was like, you guys are gonna lose in the first round. Welcome to Coach Cal. And then we didn't. And now it was just gravy to me. And then Sweet 16, now you're in the whole thing.
Yeah.
It is like levels. And it should be like, oh, we didn't make the Final Four championships. Like Sweet 16. That's what you made. That's awesome. There's only 16 teams. You made it. I was happy as a Razorback fan, and expectations were so low. To get to that point was awesome. To be the only double-digit seeds. This is a new era where it seems like it's always going to be the 1, 1, 2, and the 3. If you're lucky, it's no more double-digit Cinderella. So I was very happy with the season. And as a Hog fan, I do like retention. I do like to have. Like, is Devo going to be the last kind of like heart of he didn't even last 4 years, but it's like you like to have those guys who, even if they aren't amazing, you just like them and you just want them to develop. Used to go, he'll be better next year. He's a 4-year guy. Or now it's like, you're going to lose him to Arkansas State or whatever. And I like to have Arkansas guys too, speaking of Arkansas State. Mm-hmm. And here's my pitch, John. I think there should be a bonus in this NIL world, an Arkansas bonus. So first off, you get if you're just from the state of Arkansas and you go to UA, you get 1 bonus. And then every year you stay, you get a retention bonus, an Arkansas retention bonus that's paid for by the state. How about that?
I don't think that's a bad idea. I think with this new revenue sharing stuff, it's going to happen. Who knows? Maybe that's something they work into the contracts. I'd be all for it. Because
Huckabee's always trading on saying Woo Pig Suey. Throw some money that way.
Yeah. Might as well. I mean, hey, listen, if you're going to tax me, at least go to something I love, instead of something I don't have any clue about. But yeah, I'd be all for that, man. And, you mentioned the retention thing, just how great it is. That's kind of what you can build upon. Because if you think about like Florida and Auburn, Florida who won the title, but Auburn, Bama, teams that had really good years and everything. I mean, they have talent, good coaching and all that. But one of the biggest reasons why they had success is because they retained almost all their players from the previous year. So it's a nice thing to have. And it's also nice to have Mr. John Tyson, rolling the bank book and, making sure that, you got the Hall of Fame coach, you got facilities, you got the fan base, you got the support, but you also got the bag man that's able to take care of business. So it just is nice to have.
So speaking of which, why can't we buy a 3-point shooter, John? Am I so dumb am I so simple-minded I'm not a journalist and an expert, but it does seem like we haven't had a 3-point shooter since the guy who's on the Thunder, since Joe.
Yeah.
What's up with that? And with the chicken man, can't we just pick the best shooter in the portal and go, there he is, let's get him? I don't get that.
Trust me, that is the one thing, because Muss, and I still love Muss, but it felt like every time they got somebody from a portal that was a good 3-point shooter, they just got worse at Arkansas. And then this year, you didn't really have one that you could count on as consistently. Nelly was kind of that way, and he got better. But yeah, it's like that's like the one thing. Like Arkansas's had great defensive players, great athletes, great big men, great guards. You just said
athlete. I feel like we're always getting the guys who are the great athletes, which probably makes for good defense and stuff. But even the guys, and man, I haven't watched too many of my daughter's practices, but I feel like our 3-point shot is flat.
Yes.
And I thought they have that damn machine. Can't you make these 3-point shots a little less flat? We didn't have a classic 3-point shooter on the team.
Yeah. And you think back to even like, the Mike Anderson days, because you mentioned Isaiah Joe. It's like, you had Joe, you had Dusty Hannas, you had Anthlon Bell,
Rodney Clark.
Yeah, Rodney Clark. We're going way back. It seemed like, not every single year you had elite, but I feel like more often than not, you at least had one guy you're like, all right, this dude, 3-point shooter. Daryl Macon was a great one too. Like, this guy shoots threes. So you
need that to spread the offense. You can't just say we're athletic and we're going to drive. You need to spread it out.
Yeah,
you have to have that threat.
Maybe the new practice facility just makes your 3-point shots could get bad or something. I don't know. It's weird how often, but that is one thing I want to have a great team regardless of how it's done. But yeah, it would be nice just to have a guy where if he's open for a 3, he's making it. Just a guy you can count on no matter what.
I don't know the freshmen, the report on them. Is there a 3-point shooter in that bunch?
So yeah, both of them are really good offensively. Obviously, the shooting guard Malik Thomas is kind of more of that. But the point guard Darius Akov is really good too. But yeah, but here's the thing: it's gonna be great and it looks great, but they're high school players. So how do they translate into college is the biggest thing. But in theory, on paper, yes, you'll have at least one of those guys being that type of threat offensively. So for what it's worth.
Yeah, that's the confusion, and it is fun. You talked about on your other show, just the basketball portal. It's addictive being on social media, following that versus the football portal. I can't believe the hype anymore. I feel like I can kind of understand and wrap my head around basketball hype and the basketball portal. I'm only dealing with a few names. I feel even the rankings of high school basketball players makes a little more sense. The AAU system makes a little more sense. So I feel it's a little more real. But the hype of football, especially as a Razorback fan, the last few years, you can't believe it anymore. You can't believe anything until you see it. And
I
I
know.
almost don't mind there not being a red and white game because those are so full of baloney. You don't know what's going on. You're like, the
Yeah.
offense looks great. Well, maybe the defense is terrible, or vice versa.
Yeah. No, I am. I've been a huge proponent of not having spring games, like, because again, they served a purpose once. And I don't even think it's an Arkansas thing. I think it's just college football in general. I think most people are just kind of like, all right, like, what with the portal and everything, it's like a lot of these players may not even be on the team next year.
You
Like,
don't
we
even
can't
want
make
to
the
show
call.
off. You don't.
Yeah.
You're making tape for them.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. There's no point in it. So just not have it. I'm fine with that. But it's just good to see Razorback, because you mentioned the keeping up with the portal and stuff. My whole thing too with Razorback, whether it's football or whatever, but basketball is not only because it's less players, but also because of Cal and Arkansas and all that. You're in on all the best players, and that always is going to drive interest. Where it's not like in football where you see all these names going around. You're like, all right, well, Arkansas is not even in the stratosphere. But in basketball, doesn't matter who it is. I'm like, if it's a great player, I'm like, oh yeah, I feel confident Arkansas can get him if they want him. Like, that's just such a nice, confident feeling.
I'd rather be a general manager with my play Monopoly money. It just feels like easier to make a budget for it seems like 10 to 11 guys versus 60 guys or whatever.
Yeah.
So here's my question to you that I don't actually understand. Everyone that plays on the team gets some kind of NIL money, correct? There's no one getting just zero and just a scholarship, right?
There are very few. Like, there may be some that just do it because they didn't have any offers of NIL anywhere else. But for the most part, yeah, everyone's getting at least a little bit of something. Even if it's like $1,000, they're getting something out of it. Yeah.
Okay. But that budget, you don't know the budget. Like, the budget isn't known to anyone, right?
No clue. Yeah. There's reports of it. Like, they saw that there's reports from people on On3 saying that Arkansas, for basketball only, is one of 4 teams that's able to spend at least $10 million.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I saw that. That
sounds great. Cool. Like, I don't know who's getting it and how it's diverted or whatever, but as long as they win, I don't care. But
that's easier to understand. If you just split up 10 million 10 ways, that's everyone's getting a nice piece of cheese there. But when you're talking about offensive linemen that you are untested and coming out of high school, how do you even put a price tag on that? How do you figure that out? And then with what happened, I love seeing the Madden's On3 I'm committed logo.
Yep.
Committed to UCLA, and he looks all excited and pumped up. And it's like, do you understand what the word commitment means?
Nope.
I feel sorry for your future girlfriend or wife. I'm committed to you, baby. Are you?
Yeah.
Are we going to have sex and you're jumping in the transfer portal? Because that's how your character behavior shows.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Especially if you're signing like paperwork and you're getting paid, because he got NIL here at Arkansas and he was here. I don't even know if he did a load of laundry here. Like, I mean, it was
that's sloppy though. I don't understand how that works. I hope, and no one does. It seems like the Wild West. There's no caps, and these contracts sound dubious.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no way he's getting some full amount. That'd be crazy. Then everyone should jump in the transfer portal right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what would be stopping them? That's why I think Yurachek put out that statement of like, we're going to enforce this and we're going to try to recover some of it back. Because I feel like just a lot of schools have been too afraid to do anything about it. Like they don't want to upset anybody or maybe they got some shenanigans. But Yurachek's like, no, we don't like this. So we feel like there needs to be some consequences for it, which I understand fully. But it's hard to keep up with, man. It's almost like got to the point, especially in basketball, I'm like, I don't care. Just when the roster's finalized, I'll make my decisions there. Just let me know when it's there. And same thing with football and everything too. So it's crazy times, man. It's crazy times. But yeah. So tell us about your show that you got coming up.
Well, my podcast is Improv for Humans. That's my weekly podcast. Pretty simple improv comedy. We take suggestions from the audience. We do some improv, but we do it live every once in a while. I rarely get to Arkansas, Little Rock, my hometown. And if you know Little Rock, you know the Whitewater.
Mm-hmm.
It's all the best bands. So we're going to be there. I'm going to be there with my guest, John Gabris. You may know, another funny comedian and actor. And I hope to see Little Rock Arkansans there.
Yeah. I know that there's
the Woo Pig love.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is I think especially at this time of year, I know baseball's going on, but it's like, things slow down a little bit. People are starting to get out more because the weather's getting nicer. So yeah, this is a perfect timing for it too, for it to start happening. So yeah, it's exciting. I used to live in Little Rock. I don't anymore. I live in Fayetteville, but I've been to the tavern once, and it's a great spot, man. It's the spot to do something like that. So it's gonna be awesome though. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So how you feel? Just before I let you get out of here, just how you feel about future Razorbacks and just in general the athletic department, like things you like, things you don't like, things you want to see changed, maybe just how you feel about the current vibe of everything.
Like I touched on earlier, and maybe it's too old school of me, but I do like to know players and become fans of theirs. And I get it when someone like Carter Knox needs to so-called. I seriously don't understand that. Like, I think he's really good, but did he make a first round to second round splash as a freshman? I don't think so. And I think he's clearly a player who would benefit from another year. So I really hope he comes back. But I love my Razorbacks. Again, I was going back to Devo, as much as he was kind of maybe on a downward curve, and he had some issues, but guys like that played with a lot of heart, I love that. I love the Grant Morgans. I love the guys who just they seem all about Arkansas. So I miss that, and I hope that NIL doesn't take that element out of college sports. So that's not necessarily Arkansas, but that's just college sports in general. What I feel about Arkansas, I'm glad they got rid of Hunter. Is frustrating. I'm glad they got rid of Neighbors. I'm curious to see what Music. Is that how you say her name? Is literally Music?
Music.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see if it's music to our ears. But yeah, and I was very frustrated with Pittman staying around another year. I gotta say, I'm on that wagon. So there's a lot to be proved on the football side. I'm very cynical, I think, as a lot of us are on the football side, but I won't give it up. I love my football, I love my basketball, I love my Hogs. So I try to keep it positive. I don't like all the negativity online that people sometimes get, but I also realize the whole thing of like, they're just kids. They're kids making more money than all of us in a single year. So it's hard not to give them a little bit criticism, especially when they show the kind of zero loyalty that Madden did. I can't even say his last name.
Yeah.
That was the only silver lining on that, was I was going to have trouble with his last name as a fan.
Yeah, I was really disappointed because I finally learned it at the very like the day before he left. So I'm like, dadgummit. It took me forever to learn it, and now I had to learn it all. But yeah, no, listen. I know you're a fan just like everybody, and a lot of fans agree with you and where everything's at. So,
and I hated it when it was like, "Hey, fans, we need more money from you guys." That part of the year, I was like, "What is going on here? You cannot put it, especially Arkansas. You can't put it on the people of Arkansas." The whole SEC, frankly, the people of all those states, unless you're Tyson or Walmart, stop asking those people. I'd rather you jack the prices way up on your tickets and hot dogs than just send us money. Like, if we're going to be real about that, Wright's Barbecue, one of the best supporters, at least online, that I've seen of the Razorbacks. People love barbecue sauce. You're always asking for a little extra barbecue sauce. At least I am. It's never enough. Let's tax that. Let's put it's always like $1, and that goes straight. And you can even tell the waitress which program. I want this to go to women's basketball, my extra sauce. Cheese dip, let's tariff that. Everyone has pride in the Arkansas cheese dip. Let's tariff that to other states.
Do whatever it takes.
Pay for that cheese dip. But stop just asking us just to send the money. And that was silly.
Yeah, at least give us something out of it. Give us the cheese dip, give us the extra sauce. Let us have something in return.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's going to be awesome, though. It's going to be a crazy offseason, as it always is. But we always appreciate Matt Besser joining us. Of course, again, he's going to be at the Whitewater Tavern in Little Rock on April 26th for his Improv for Humans show, back in his native state and in his native city of Little Rock. But Matt, as always, it's good to talk with you. Appreciate you, man. Enjoy the week.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, good luck on the show, man. And we'll be catching up with you soon.
All right, thanks.